Hey, happy Halloween, everybody. This is Ed, P.I. Henderson, the Rambassador of your world champion Los Angeles Rams. Well, Ramley, I just have to say, what a very distasteful game we had yesterday at SoFi Stadium against our opposition, the San Francisco 49ers. Uh, Basically, it was a tale of two halves. The first half, the Rams showed up, bullied the 49ers across the field, and it seemed to leave a distasteful taste in the mouth of Kyle Shanahan till he had to do what he do best, resort to trick plays. So that got the 49ers on board and pretty much got the crowd into the game with their fans. And I have to say, everyone, that it's as a Ram fan, a season ticket holder myself, it is very, very, very disappointing to see so much of our opposition in the stadium that was built for our team in our city. And then the other thing to take away from it is just so sad that I look out and see all these 49er fans that's sitting in my section in the lower end zone, and they talking about 49ers. So when you ask them the question, where you from, they all said LA. So you have a fan base that basically jumped on the bandwagon of a team, and and that's how it's been ever since. They seem to live off that hype of 5 Super Bowl rings, in which, in my opinion, doesn't mean anything, not to me, because you have two other franchises that currently have 6, along with two other franchises that has, or actually one other franchise that have 5 rings as them, as the Dallas Cowboys. So what you did in the past doesn't really make a bit of difference until you do something currently, as you notice our Los Angeles Rams have done last season. The other thing is saying that they own our team, which in my mind is very disrespectful, because to say that they own us is just basically saying they can come into our house at any given time, put their feet on the coffee table, and drink the Kool-Aid that is sitting on the counter. And for me, as a fan, I do not accept that, nor will I allow it in my section. So I will be boisterous and loud. But that's here and there. We're going to go and get to the game at hand. So takeaways that I've come up with is, like I said, there was a tale of two halves. There was no run game. The ability not to come out the second half with any type of fire, and then McVay versus Shanahan. And we'll take this one at a time. Let's start with the tale of two halves. As I previously mentioned, the Los Angeles Rams jumped out 14-7 on the 49ers, and it seemed as if they pretty much had figured out what the 49ers were doing on defense. And they were able to move the ball effectively, mixing in the run and the pass. But the run game was not stout at all. And it seemed to got to the point where they were trying to force the run down the 49ers' throat. But it just wasn't materializing. You had rookie Ronnie Rivers started at running back, and then you also had Malcolm Brown, who came in a couple of times, and then Darrell Henderson, who was just basically fighting off the symptoms of a flu that he had earlier in the week, that everybody was concerned about him not practicing. So he wasn't at 100%, but he was there to do whatever he can do to contribute to help this offense move forward throughout this game. But nonetheless, neither were the 3 running backs really effective. I mean, Ronnie Rivers had his sparks. He had a couple of good runs. There were 2 runs that I think that if he would have stayed outside on some ISO plays and bounced it outside, I think he may have run for 30, 40 yards. I mean, that's just how fast this defensive surge was coming from the defensive backfield, or I should say the defense of the San Francisco 49ers. In that wide nine base with a defensive line, you have the inside linebackers moving all around. You had the defensive backs, nickel backs coming up on the line like they're going to press 6, press 8, showing eight-man looks at times, and would drop out, trying to confuse Stafford and the receiving crew. But at the same time, Stafford was able to see what was going on and would audible out and pick up the needed first downs. So the problem was in this game was, which takes me to the second part of what I had as a takeaway, is the run game. The run game was just ineffective throughout. We got down into the red zone, got at the 3-yard line, and could not punch it in. We was only able to get outside the pocket with Stafford, who ended up running and diving into the end zone for a touchdown, which the 49ers third down stop was negated by a so-called pass interference call. And I'm going to just keep it real with all my viewers here, and those of you who that do follow me, is that I'm optimistic. I'm a realist. I'm a type of person to call it like I see it. But when those pass interference, the second pass interference that was called, to set first and goal once again at the 1-yard line against the Rams, that was not a pass interference. I don't know what the official was watching, but there was no pass interference. Clearly the ball was underthrown. The receiver tried to gather underneath it to get the catch, and the defensive back stumbled. So I don't know where it came from. But in all due fairness, it did allow the Rams to finally score on a 3rd down and 1 or 3rd down and 2, where Stafford had to roll outside the pocket and take off and run. So that was that. But the run game is ineffective. We don't have no run game. We have no really big push up front. What the 49ers was doing in the first half, we'll get back to my little message, a statement I made, a tale of two halves. They were playing wide. They were starting off in the B gaps. The D linemen were playing in the B gaps of the offensive guards. So those of you who don't know where the B gaps is in between the offensive guards and offensive tackles. So, and what they were doing was allowing their fast and strong and physical linebackers to fire down into the A gaps, looking for some protection. It didn't work out at first. The Rams was able to get some type of blocking schemes to not only control the B gaps, but also take over the A gaps with Brian Allen slide either left or right on double teams if a linebacker was to come through the A gaps. The second half, they changed. They went head up with the offensive guards, and then their action was coming straight pressure through the B gaps with the A gaps, with the linebackers firing through the B gaps, which kind of like gave a whole different look to the offensive line, and it applied just as much pressure. And something that I've said for a long time, that our team cannot handle the bull rush. And then that exactly is what the 49ers defensive line did, was came entirely with a bull rush to our offensive linemen, pushing them back. There was a play that I recall seeing where Alamenhu, whatever, how you pronounce his last name, straight bull rush Bobby Evans Jr. back into the backfield, put him on his back. Luckily, Stafford was able to step into the middle of the pocket and release the ball downfield to Cooper Kupp, who did not come down with the reception. So that is something that I've always learned about our offensive line. If you bull rush directly down the middle, the chances of stopping the Rams run and their ability to pass the ball on a 5 to 7 step drop with the quarterback is their ratio is very high in stopping the Rams on the offensive line. On the offense with that type of offensive line in those type of scenarios. So moving the pocket, one thing that McVay was able to do in the first half, and then along as well in the second half was move the pocket. And that kind of like bought Stafford a little bit more time. It also allowed our receivers to free up down the field, where time and time again you were seeing receptions being made by the receivers. But in the second half, D'Amico Ryans changed up the whole philosophy. He just basically trashed the game scheme to what he initially started out with, and just started bringing pressure with 4 and 5 men through the interior offensive line with their brutal defensive line. So not to take anything away from the Rams on the offensive line, there were good times where they did have great pass protection against San Francisco 49ers defensive front 7. But when they got to blitzing is where the problems start escalating for the offensive line, where there was one crucial 3rd down and 2. Stafford ended up getting sacked right after the 3rd quarter, after the Rams were able to stop the 49ers. So you look at that, and it's just so frustrating. It's like you're bowling, you playing bowling, and you just throwing straight strikes, and you get to the last 5 frames, and then you just gut all the rest of your balls down the gutter and not get any pins. So this is just something that just frustrates me. The second thing, which is the third takeaway that I take of this game, is when the Rams coming back the second half didn't have any fire whatsoever, none. You get the ball back just before the half with a minute left, after allowing San Francisco to kick a field goal to narrow the lead down to 14-10, and then you take no shots down the field. In fact, there was no deep shots that were thrown at all over 25 yards in this game yesterday at all. No deep shots whatsoever. Stafford did miss Van Jefferson once, and he also missed a wide open Allen Robinson streaking across the middle of the field, looking at Kupp, that a ball that was nearly almost could have been picked off on an underneath play. So it is frustrating, but that is what you go in cold the second half and you come out cold the first time you get the ball once the 49ers come in and take the lead 17-14. It just, I don't get it. What type of game plans that McVay and his staff comes up with. It seems like every game, the first half is garbage, the second half is fire. This was just the reciprocal of the last game. This game, the first half was on fire. Second half, they couldn't do nothing whatsoever. It was just like a college team playing against a professional team in the second half. And I'm not going to take anything away from the Rams' talent, and I won't take anything away from the Rams' play either. However, what it does is just get me into my next takeaway. Basically, is Sean McVay versus Shanahan. And the problem is that Shanahan somehow or another is getting into his head. He has him thinking just entirely too much. If he just stick with his one game plan that he came in with, then I think things will go a whole lot better. You were stuffing the Niners. You were stopping Christian McCaffrey in the first half. He had one good run that he may have gotten 12, 15 yards on. After that, the defense was solid. Then you start tilting your hand. Every time they go wide with McCaffrey, the safeties is coming down hard with both Rapp and Scott. And I'm looking at it from the end zone. I have end zone seats. So I'm looking behind the plays, and I'm telling you, I'm telling the people next to me, we're going to get caught with either a double pass or some type of halfback toss pass. And they will ask me, how do you know that? You don't know. I said, I'm telling you. I said, watch 33 and watch 24 every time McCaffrey gets the ball. And sure enough, every time he got the ball running, they were flying straight downhill for the tackle, somehow getting involved in the tackle. And releasing the receiver that they were guarding up the seams. So on this particular play, they go slot to the right side. They go slot to the left side, bring the receiver to shift the receiver to the right side. You got McCaffrey, who would then go motion right, and as he goes motion right, You see the linebacker slides with him, and then you see the swing pass, old school swing pass, deep in the backfield with McCaffrey. He gives 2 steps, and then he just laid the ball up in the air. And then both Rapp and Nick Scott is coming downhill hard. Both of them coming downhill hard and had to try to regather themselves and get back down the field. It was too late. They had got away with that same play. If I'm not mistaken, it was deep in the second quarter that where Scott I'm drawing a blank right now who the other defensive back, but it was Taylor's Rapp man. It was Nick Scott and I want to say Troy Hill, who was able to get back to the back of the end zone and nail Ray McLeod to jar the ball loose and stop that touchdown. That was right before the half. So yes. So again, this is what's occurring now. A lot of people tend to get a little, I guess, hurt their feelings or rub them a little wrong. But hey, I'll just keep it 100. Taylor Rapp, in my opinion, is a handicap to our defense. He's a type of player that's very cerebral, but however, at the same time, he's dumb. And what I mean by dumb, he just do some things that just make you want to think, did you just really do that? And that's what he's done. He did it last week, a week before last against the Cowboys. He did it again against the 49ers. He did it against the 49ers when the first season we had Jalen Ramsey, where the receiver was able to catch a deep pass, set the 49ers up for a game-winning field goal. So that is the things. He has mental breakdowns out there on the field. Some want to try to get at Jalen Ramsey, say he did this, did that. Jalen Ramsey, playoff instincts. He sees things a little differently. He comes up, and without any pressure from our front seven, then every now and then he's going to get caught up. But we are not getting no push from our front seven whatsoever. Our edge rushers. Now, I have to say, Leonard Floyd stepped up yesterday. He had 2 sacks. He should actually probably had 2.5 sacks if they give him one. That, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was the linebacker. But if they don't give it to him, he had 2 sacks. But who else is a handicap on our defense from that edge position is Hollis. Hollis has so much potential, has so much speed, and now I see why the Denver Broncos gave up on this kid so early. A high draft pick and was given up so early. I see it. He doesn't have that killer dog instinct against the run, and he can't try to be a pass rusher every down because he's limited with his moves. So if the Rams are going to do anything with this trade deadline coming up tomorrow afternoon Pacific time, they have to do whatever it takes to try and get Bradley Chubb or try to get Brian Burns. Like they said, it's a dead deal with Brian Burns, but you never know. I've seen they said it was a dead deal with Jalen Ramsey. It was a dead deal with with the quarterback a couple of years ago. He gets traded. So you can't believe everything that you hear about being dead. That is one thing that I remain optimistic about, is because I see it time in and time out to where they said nothing's going to happen, and then what happened? The Rams end up with them. So, or another team ends up with a player. So in any event, I'm certain that Les Snead and McVay, along with Demoff, they're trying to figure out the best way of getting someone in here. My anticipation tomorrow is that we're going to have Bradley Chubb and Kareem Hunt on this roster. There's been talk about Brandon Cooks coming back for a trade, which I would love to have Brandon Cooks back. He's a type of receiver that's overlooked. He has so much speed. He can attack the defense, can take the top off of him at all times. But if one receiver I would rather have back right now I would take Robert Woods back in a heartbeat. He does so much more from the position at receiver than what Cooper Kupp is playing right now. If you put Robert Woods back into that slot position, put Cooper Kupp back in the position that he played at that X receiver, you know how much pressure, because now you got Robert Woods doing all the dirty work, able to run the jet sweeps, able to run the backside counters and trap plays that he was so elusive to do when he was around. So he has more, I guess, more spunk for that position. They've tried it with Brandon Allen, but when he comes there, they know what to look for. But you don't know what to look for with Robert Woods coming out of the jet sweep. But that is one receiver I would take back right now in a heartbeat, because he do so much as a runner, as a pass catcher, and as a blocker. So that I will say, I wish we get Robert Woods back by all cases. Now, other interesting things for this trade deadline that has been materializing was also that perhaps we can Nyheim Hines from Indianapolis, who was a 3-down type of back. As a running back and also kickoff return and punt specialist. That was some other earlier talk, but right now I see the lead take right now is right now, especially Cleveland is winning right now, but it's off the shoulders of Nick Chubb and Jacoby Brissett in this game. Is we might be able to walk away with Kareem Hunt. Nothing against Darrell Henderson, nothing against Ronnie Rivers, and nothing against Malcolm Brown. Kareem Hunt is a different type of back that will come in that has a bigger upside. I'm just going to say this. He has bigger of an upside than Darrell Henderson. And what I mean by bigger upside is Darrell Henderson is a straight runner. He's a North style type of runner who will give you a little bit movement side to side, but he's going to run you over. He's a little short back at 5'8" and about 212, 214 pounds, or 220, and will punish a defender. That's his game. If he gets a crease, he's going to blow through it and he's gone. If not, he's going to try to maintain and get the yards after contact. And he's going to always 9 times out of 10 fall forward. With Kareem Hunt, he's a different type of receiver out of the backfield. He's a different type of runner out of the backfield. More powerful. He's more of a powerful runner in a stint to Darrell Henderson. But I would give them both the same when it comes to it. But he's more flashier as a back. So he's something more than what Cam Akers was, per se. But Kareem Hunt can come in and can also come in and pass block. Something that Darrell Henderson has been asked to do time in, time out. And that allows the defenses to key up. Third down, Henderson's in the game. Oh, we know he's in there for pass blocking. So all we got to do is flush him real fast and put enough pressure, get Stafford outside the pocket, try to dump it to him or throw it away or force it down the field. They already know what to do. Now with Kareem Hunt, you got somebody who can come down that has the power, that also has the speed, but is a better catcher, and he can check out of reads a lot smoother than what Henderson can pick up the blitz a lot better and check down for passes out of the pocket. And again, nothing to take away from Henderson. I love him. Again, like I said, here's a different type of back with Kareem Hunt. He's more savvier as a receiver out of the backfield because you can line him up in the slot also. With Henderson, you can get him with the wheel routes and straight routes. With Kareem Hunt, he can do the whole entire passing tree. So this is the difference between a creative back and a basic back. And what I mean by basic back, you got a back that's going to stick to the basic fundamentals, who is going to run that ball. You want me 4 yards, he's going to go get you them 4 yards. He's going to punish someone at the same time. So that's my take on that. Now, moving forward, sorry about that. Moving forward, the Rams have to figure this out. And right now they're sitting at 3-4. in third place in NFC West. The NFC West is up for grabs right now. It's a coin toss. No matter what, the Seattle Seahawks is one game away from being in second place. Okay, the Arizona Cardinals, the Rams is one win or one loss away from being in the bottom or the top of the division. So it's a doggy dog world right now. The Rams win next week, they be back tied with the 49ers at 4-4. If Seattle loses next week, they'll have a half game lead over both. So it doesn't get no easier than that. So right now, this is the most competitive the NFC West has been in years. Right now, the NFC East is where it's at. Despite the fact that the Seattle Seahawks was able to defeat the Giants yesterday to break their hot streak. But moving forward, I just see that my Rams can, like I said, 13-4 doesn't look bad at all at the end of the day. But we got a lot of good teams we have to go through. We got the Saints, we got the Packers, we have Tampa Bay, we have Arizona. We got both the Seattle games. Not to say that we can't beat them. I'm just saying it's going to be a tough gauntlet to go through the way that we're playing right now. So our team needs to get it together, find out these missing links and pieces that's going to have this offense cohesively moving up and down the field that us fans like to see every season. And right now I'm just going to keep it. Without Todd Gurley, this offense has never been the same. Despite the fact he was able to win a Super Bowl last year, we had a running back that had something to prove, and that was Cam Akers. He defied all odds, came back early off of tearing his Achilles tendon during OTAs. And now he was back in time to get to the end of the season, the playoffs, and then win a Super Bowl ring. So we have to get this back. With Todd Gurley, you couldn't second guess this. You had to second guess the offense because Todd Gurley was going to be running, pass out the backfield, or Jared Goff was just lighting up the defenses. Say what you say about Jared Goff. I miss him. I do. But at the same time, he had MVP numbers when he played here for the Rams. So, in all fairness, I just had to say the 49ers, like I said, they disrespected me yesterday. I got a special guest that just arrived, y'all, and I'm going to bring my special guest in. So every one of you guys is going to love this. And this is for the Bang Bang Gang. So, Mr. Lombardi's here, y'all. It's a beautiful thing. Now I'm going to give it a little kiss. Mwah. For all you 49er fans that do get a chance to watch this, this is what we earned off beating you guys in the NFC Championship last season. And I just have to say that with us beating you guys when it really counts, losing 2 games during the season, the last 4 years, 8 games in a row, it doesn't really hurt me as much because right now I'm sitting here with this right here in my hand, and this is something that is the bigger prize. You guys celebrating off of peanuts, while we sitting up here with the filet mignon, you know what I mean? So in any given day, you talk about your rings, they talk about their rings, how many rings they have, and all this, but they haven't done anything in 30 years. We've done something 20 years ago, and we came back this past football season and was able to earn this right here, a Lombardi trophy. So at the end of the day, I don't care what they say, how they do it, that it's Levi South. It's SoFi. It's called Levi South. But remember, the last time you was in Levi South, when it really meant something, you left out with a sea of red whining. But other than that, everyone, that's going to conclude my show for the day. Thank each and every one of you that took the time to watch this all the way through. I truly appreciate it. I'm not looking for no likes. I'm not looking for subscribers. I do this from the heart. But those of you that do like it, want to make your comments, or do like to subscribe, go right ahead. Push the subscribe button or the like button, whatever you want to do. It makes no difference. All I'm saying, baby, is that I love my Rams. I'm there, and we're going to see it again next week moving forward. Happy Halloween to each and one of you all, and I hope you all had a wonderful time with your children trick-or-treating. Make sure they got home safely. Until then, I'm out of here. Horns for life. Thank you. See you again next week.